We're going. All right, everybody sit still. I believe we are on chapter number, what's it say? Chapter number 8. And I think it's called, the fight
we only have
at,
to do 5 pages?
I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. 5.5.
Then we're done?
Then we're done. Can you be patient?
Yeah.
All right, are you guys ready? Shall we go? We're going to do 1, 2, 3, and then what?
Go!
Go. Okay, let's do it. Ho, Empress, are you? We'll see about that, said a voice. Then another voice said, 3 cheers for the Empress of Kolniach. And quite a number joined in. A flush of color came to the witch's face, and she bowed ever so slightly, but the cheers died away into roars of laughter, and she saw that they had only been making fun of her. Whoa. A change came over her expression, and she changed the knife to her left hand. Then, without a warning, she did a thing that was dreadful to see. Lightly, easily, as if it were the most ordinary thing in the world, she stretched up her right arm and wrenched off one of the crossbars to the lamppost. Wow, she's strong. If she had lost some magical powers in our world, she had not lost her strength. She could break an iron bar as if it were a stick of barley sugar. She tossed her new weapon up in the air, caught it again, brandished it, and urged the horse forward. Now's my chance, thought Diggory. He darted between the horse and the railings and began going forward. If only the brute would stay still for a moment, he might catch the witch's heel. As he rushed, he heard a sickening crash and a thud. The witch had brought the bar down on the chief policeman's helmet, and the man fell like a 9-pin. Quick, Diggory, this must be stopped, said a voice behind him. It was Polly, who had rushed down the moment she was allowed out of bed. You are a brick, says Diggory. Hold on to me tight. You'll have to manage the ring. Yellow, remember, and don't put it on till I shout. There was a second crash. Uh-oh. And another policeman crumpled up. There was an angry roar from the crowd. Pull her down. Get a few paving stones. Call out the military. But most of them were getting as far away as they could. Why? Because they were afraid they were going to be next, right? Smacked on the head with a bar of iron, right?
Ouch!
That could hurt a lot, right?
Ouchie! It
No.
would burn you to death.
It would break your head. That's right.
It would like bang.
Yep. Okay, the cabbie, remember, however, obviously the bravest as well as the kindest person present, was keeping close to the horse, dodging this way and that to avoid the bar, but still trying to catch Strawberry's head. Why? Because he cared about the horse, right? The cabbie actually liked the horse, right? The crowd booed. The cabbie is the guy who had the horse. He was the guy that had, remember, they came up in a carriage and it was all broke to pieces? It was his carriage. It was the cabbie's carriage and the cabbie's horse. And the witch is being bad to his stuff, right?
Yeah, he broke it.
The crowd booed and bellowed again. A stone whistled over Diggory's head. Then came the voice of the witch, clear as a great bell, and sounding as if for once she were almost happy. Scum, you shall pay dearly for this when I have conquered your world. Not one stone of your city shall be left. I will make it Tarn, as Felinda, as Sorlus, as Bramandine. Diggory at last caught her ankle. She kicked back with her heel and hit him in the mouth. In his pain, he lost his hold, his lip was cut, and his mouth was full of blood. From somewhere very close came the voice of Uncle Andrew in a sort of trembling scream. Madame, my dear young lady, for heaven's sake, compose yourself. Diggory made a second grab at her heel and was again shaken off. More men were knocked down by the iron bar. He made a third grab, caught the heel, held on like grim death, shouting to Polly, Go then, oh thank goodness. The angry, frightened faces had vanished. The angry, frightened voices were silenced, all except Uncle Andrew's. Close beside Diggory in the darkness, it was wailing on, Oh, in this delirium, is this the end? I can't bear it. It's not fair. I never meant to be a magician. It's all a misunderstanding. It's all my godmother's fault. I must protest against this, in my state of health, to a very old Dorsetshire family. Bother, thought Diggory. We didn't want to bring him along. So what happened?
Bring who along?
So guess who came along when they grabbed the rings?
The White Witch.
Uncle Andrew and the White Witch. But maybe even more than that. Let's keep listening. Let's just keep listening because we'll know when we listen to the story, won't we?
Keep going.
Yes, I'm here. Don't keep on shoving. I'm not, began Diggory, but before he could say anything more, their heads came out into the warm green sunshine of the wood. And as they stepped out of the pool, Polly cried out, "Oh, look, we brought the old horse with us too, and Mr. Ketterly, and the cabby. This is a pretty kettle of fish."
Kettle of fish.
We don't have kettle of fish, do we, in America?
What is a kettle?
Do you guys want me to tell you what a kettle
Oh,
is?
like
It's just like saying what a bad deal is what they're saying, or what an awful thing happened. That's what they really are saying. They're just making a statement about what something is. Oh man, I wish this wouldn't have happened. You know what that means?
Yeah.
If I said, "Oh man, I wish this wouldn't have happened," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You what? What would I mean?
That means that.
It's a bad deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it means. So there you go. Anyhow, oh look! As soon as the witch saw that she was once more in the wood, she turned pale and bent down till her face touched the mane of the horse. You could see that she felt deadly sick. Uncle Andrew was shivering, but Strawberry the horse shook his head, gave a cheerful whinny, and seemed to feel better, which became he became quiet for the first time since Diggory had seen him. His ears, which had been laid flat back on his skull, came into their proper position, and the fire went out of his eyes. So Strawberry likes to land in the woods, right?
Who's Strawberry?
The horse. Strawberry's the horse. He was mad. He was kicking people and breaking things, before. "That's right, old boy," said the cabby, slapping Strawberry's neck. "That's better. Take it easy," he says. Strawberry did the most natural thing in the world, being very thirsty, and no wonder. He walked slowly across to the nearest pool and stepped into it to have a drink. Why not? Diggory was still holding the witch's heel, and Polly was holding Diggory's hand. One of the cabby's hands was on Strawberry, and Uncle Andrew, still very shaky, had just grabbed the cabby's other hand. "Quick," said Polly with a look at Diggory. "Greens!" So the horse never got his drink. Instead, the whole party found themselves sinking into darkness. Strawberry neighed, Uncle Andrew whimpered, Diggory said, "That was a bit of a luck." There was a short pause, then Polly said, "Oughtn't we be nearly there by now?" "We do seem to be somewhere," said Diggory. "At least, what do you think happened?" "At least I'm standing on something solid." "Why, so am I, now that I've come to think of it," said Polly. "But why is it so dark? I say, do you think we got into the wrong pool?" So what if they grabbed the rings and got in the wrong pool? What would have happened?
They would have been off of where they should go back to the...
Who would even know what would happen, right?
Maybe we should keep it going.
Who knows? Perhaps this is charm, said Diggory. "Only we've got back in the middle of the night." "This is not charm," came the witch's voice. "This is an empty world. This is nothing." So they went to...
That witch sure is so rude.
She's pretty smart, isn't she? And really, it was uncommonly like nothing. There were no stars. Hey, Dylan, sit still. If you hit my deal, you're going to bump my video. Thank you. There were no stars. It was so dark they couldn't see one another at all, and it made no difference whether you kept your eyes shut or open. Under their feet there was a cool, flat something which might have been earth, and was certainly not grass or wood. The air was cold and dry, and there was no wind. Different, huh?
Ice.
Be different. "My doom has come upon me," said the witch in a voice of horrible calmness. "Oh, don't say that," babbled Uncle Andrew. "My dear young lady, pray don't say such things. It can't be as bad as that. Cabman, my good man, you don't happen to have a flask about you?" A flask means alcohol. He wants to have a drink. "A drop of spirits is just what I need." Now then, came the cabby's voice, a good, firm...
Abby.
The cabbie is the guy with the horse. Remember him? The guy who rode the cab, and the horse broke it. Now he's there with the horse, right? But the cab is broke, so it didn't come, right? Now he says, "Keep cool, everybody." So what's keep cool mean?
It means don't be cold.
No, it means calm down. Keep cool. Calm down. Ellie, don't be so fidgety, right? That would be keep cool, right? See, look at who's being cool over here. It's Miss Savannah. She is like so cool. She's not even moving. She's crazy.
I'm not cool.
You're not cool, but she's cool. Look, she looks like somebody froze her in a block of ice. She's not even moving. Look at her. She has to grin. Okay. Don't say that. Everything's going to be okay. But then the cabbie, a good, firm, hearty voice, said, "Keep cool, everyone. That's what I say. No bones broken. Anyone? Good. Well, there's something to be thankful for straight away, and more than anyone could expect after falling all that way. Now, if we've fallen down some diggings, which means a mine, it might be for a new station in the underground. Someone will come and get us out presently, see? And if we're dead, which I don't deny it might be, well, you've got to remember that worse things happen at sea, and a chap's got to die sometime, right?" So he's wondering if he's dead, right? "There ain't nothing to be afraid of if a chap led a decent life. And if you ask me, I think the best thing we could do as pass the time would be to sing a hymn." You know what a hymn is? It's like
It's a boy.
It's like a church song. A hymn is a song you'd sing at church. That's what he thinks, is you should sing a church song. And he did. He struck up at once a harvest Thanksgiving hymn all about crops being safely gathered in. It was not a very suitable for a place which felt as if nothing had ever grown there since the beginning of time. But it was the one he could remember best. He had a fine voice, and the children joined in. It was very cheering. Uncle Andrew and the witch did not join in.
Why?
Because they're kind of like bad people, you know. Uncle Andrew and the witch are kind of bad people, aren't they?
Yeah, but Uncle Andrew's kind of nice now.
I don't think he's nice. I just think he's sort of scared, is what I think. Okay, toward the end of the hymn, Diggory felt someone plucking at his elbow, and from a general smell of brandy and cigars and good clothes, he decided that it must be Uncle Andrew. Uncle Andrew was cautiously pulling him away from the others. When they had gone a little distance, the old man put his mouth so close to Diggory's ear that it tickled and whispered, "Now, my boy, slip on your ring. Let's be off." But the witch had very good ears. "Fool," came her voice, and she leapt off the horse. "Have you forgotten that I can hear men's thoughts? Let go of the boy. If you attempt treachery, I will take such vengeance upon you as never was heard of in all the worlds from the very beginning." "And," added Diggory, "if you think I'm such a mean pig as to go off and leave Polly," said the cabbie. "All right, Ellie, you gotta sit here. Come here. Don't bump the tripod. You two weren't even gonna be good, were you? You were gonna goof off while you thought I wasn't looking, right?"
Huh?
These guys thought I wasn't looking, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Well, but guess what? Grandpa used to have kids, and I can see out of the sides of my eyes, like way over here. I can see you if you're being bad.
Like I can look.
Isn't that funny? That, you know, your mom's like that too, isn't she? And your dad.
I can see.
Can they
the
see if you're
door.
being bad even when they're not looking at you?
I can't see the back.
Like,
Yeah, but you're not a mom or a dad.
Grandpa.
You're not. I can see it though. And guess what? So can the witch, right? So if you're whispering in Uncle Andrew's ear, what's going to happen? She's going to hear it, isn't she?
Yeah, so here you go.
She has like really good hearing. She hears people's thoughts.
Yeah.
How does she hear?
It's magic. She does it
Yeah.
with magic.
Magic.
Okay. "You are a very naughty and impertinent little boy," said Uncle Andrew. "Hush," said the cabbie. They all listened. In the darkness, something was happening at last. You want to find out what it was? A voice had begun to sing. It was very far away, and Diggory found it hard to decide from what direction it was coming. So somebody's singing, and it's not the cabbie. All right? Sometimes it seemed to come from all directions at once. Sometimes he almost thought it was coming out of the earth beneath him. Its lower notes were deep enough to be the voice of the earth itself. There were no words, there was hardly even a tune, but it was beyond comparison the most beautiful noise he had ever heard. It was so beautiful he could hardly bear it. The horse seemed to like it too. He gave a sort of whinny that a horse would give if after years of being a cab horse it found itself back in the old field where it had played as a foal and saw someone whom it remembered and loved coming across the field to bring it a lump of sugar. Horses like sugar, did you know that? Horses love sugar.
What kind of sugar?
Sugar, just the same kind you know what sugar is.
Like what sugar?
You even like sugar, I know.
I like sugar and squash.
I like sugar. Do you like sugar?
Yeah.
Guess what? Horses are not dumb. Horses like sugar too. So there you go. "God," said the cabbie, "ain't it lovely?" When two wonders happened at the same moment. One was that the voice was suddenly joined by other voices, more voices than you could possibly count. They were in harmony with it, but far higher up the scale. Cold, tingly, silvery voices. The second wonder was that the blackness overhead all at once was blazing with stars. Whoa! They didn't come out gently, one by one, as they do on a summer evening. One moment there had been nothing but darkness. The next moment, 1,000 points of light leapt out. Single stars, constellations, and planets, brighter and bigger than any in our world. There were no clouds, and the new stars and the new voices began at exactly the same time. Maybe the stars are singing. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? I never heard stars sing before.
Me neither.
Maybe it was God.
Well, if you had seen and heard it as Diggory did, you would have felt quite certain that it was the stars themselves which were singing. And that was the first voice, the deep one, which had made them appear and made them sing. Hey, Savannah, look. How far you are? How close are we? You already only have one page and half a page, right? We're almost done. Good job.
Yes.
But guess what? Imagine, with your imagination, get out your imagination,
Stars
and
are singing.
think about stars singing. That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Oh, I'm thinking about a silver star, like.
Do you think stars might have a silvery voice?
Yeah, like it's.
Maybe. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Glory be, said the cabbie. I had been a better man all my life if I'd have known there were such things like this. The voice on the earth was now louder and more triumphant, but the voice is in the sky, after singing loudly with it for a time, began to get fainter, and now something else was happening. Far away and down near the horizon, the sky began to turn gray. Gray. A light wind, very fresh, began to stir. The sky in that one place grew slowly light and steadily paler. You could see shapes of hills standing up against it. All the time the voice went on singing. There was soon light enough for them to see one another's faces. The cabbie and the two children had open mouths, shining eyes, and they were drinking in the sound and looked as if it reminded them of something. Uncle Andrew's mouth was open too. I guess so, but not open with joy. He looked more like his chin had simply dropped away from the rest of his face. Now there's a thought. Here's my chin, and all of a sudden, it's down here at my belly button. Now that sounds odd, doesn't it?
It's like
Just fell off. His mouth was so wide open that his chin was on his belly button. Isn't that crazy? Yes, okay. He looked more like his chin had dropped. He was not liking the voice. If he could have got away from it by creeping into a rat's hole, he would have done so. But the witch looked as if, in a way, she understood the music better than any of them. Her mouth was shut, her lips were pressed together, and her fists were clenched. Ever since the song began, she felt that this whole world was filled with a magic different from hers and stronger. She hated it. She would have smashed the whole world, or all worlds, to pieces if she could only stop the singing. The horse stood with his ears well forward and twitching. Every now and then it snorted and stamped the ground. It no longer looked like a tired old cab horse. You could now well believe that its father had been in battles. All right, you two need to sit up and sit still. Bottom here, sit still. You up, bottom there, sit still. You guys got it? Because otherwise, what's going to happen? All the kids in Athol, all your cousins are going to see you guys wiggling around, and they're not going to want to listen either, right? Got to be good examples, right?
you're good.
Right?
Yay.
Give me five. Give me five. That means right. We're going to do it. We almost are done. You can make it. You can make it. Okay, the eastern sky changed from white to pink, and from pink... Hey, don't do it, you two, or you're going to get in trouble. You know what happens to stinkers around here? No chocolate raisins. You know, don't you?
Hey.
Don't you know?
Yeah.
You know. You want to tell Savannah what happens to stinkers?
You go right home.
You go right home and no chocolate raisins.
You just get nothing.
All right, so you two, be good. And you're being good. You're being pretty good. So you two, everywhere you go, trouble happens. Isn't that funny? You need to be good, all right? Thank you. All right. Diggory had never seen such a sun. The sun above all the ruins of Charn had looked older than ours. This one looked younger. A sun that looks younger. You could imagine that it laughed for joy as it came up, and its beams shot across the land, and travelers could see for the first time what sort of place they were in. It was a valley through which a broad, swift river wound its way around, flowing eastward toward the sun. Southward there were mountains, northward there were lower hills, but it was a valley of mere earth and rock and water. There was not a tree, not a bush, not a blade of grass to be seen. The earth was of many colors. They were fresh, hot, and vivid. This made you feel excited until you saw the singer himself, and then you forgot everything else. So now we've seen the singer. Now we see the singer. I wonder who this singer is. It was a lion. A huge, shaggy, and bright. It stood facing the risen sun. Its mouth was wide open in song, and it was about 300 yards away. "This is a terrible world," said the witch. "We must fly at once. Prepare the magic." "I quite agree with you, madam," said Uncle Andrew. "A most disagreeable place, completely uncivilized. If only I were a younger man and had a gun." "Garn," said the cabby. "You don't think you would shoot him, do you?" "And you would?" said Polly. "Prepare the magic, old fool," said Jadis. "Certainly, madam," said the Uncle Andrew cunningly. "I must have both the children touching me. Put on your homeward ring at once, Diggory." He wanted to get away without the witch. "Oh, it's the rings, is it?" cried Jadis. She would have had her hands on Diggory's pocket before you could say knife, but Diggory grabbed Polly and shouted out, "Take care! If either of you come half an inch nearer, we too will vanish and you will be left here for good. Yes, I have a ring in my pocket that will take Polly and me home. And look, my hand is just ready, so keep your distance. I'm sorry about you," he looked at the cabby, "and about the horse, but I can't help that. As for you two," he looked at Uncle Andrew and the Queen, "you're both magicians and you ought to enjoy living together." "Hold your noise, everyone," said the cabby. "I want to listen to the music." For the song had now changed. Now, I have one question. Who remembers a lion somewhere?
In Aslan.
Can you believe it might be Aslan?
Oh.
Could it be Aslan?
Yeah.
It might be Aslan.
Yeah, Aslan.
So if it's Aslan, where might they be?
In Aslan.
Where would they be? Who
In
knows
Narnia.
where Aslan was at? Remember when we saw Aslan?
Valley.
In Narnia, right? Could this be Narnia?
Yeah, it could be the start.
It could be the start of Narnia. Good thinking, Dylan. You guys did really good. Pretty good. Mostly good.
Like I was like this.
So I think, yes, your eyes were big and round, just like that, because you were shocked. Shall we shut the video off and go have raisins?
Yeah.
All right. You guys sit right here while I get up and get the video, and then we'll do that.
Bye.
Hey, everybody get over there and wave in the deal. Everybody wave.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Okay.